Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome to Updates. This is the weekly video that I do to update you on what's going on in my craft room, little projects you might not have seen, embellishments, whatever. Today I have a couple of things. I have a birthday card that I worked on, but I can't show it to you yet. I did the thing that Mr. Crafting and Relaxing says I should do, but I never do, where since I had all the stuff out, I made two. I made the one that was for the friend and then like a lesser version that was still perfectly fine, but not quite as customized to the friend either. So just keep that in mind. I mean, if you drag all your stuff out and make something super specialized, knock out another one. I had a couple colors of ink and I had die cutting stuff out, so I went for it. The other thing I've been doing is I was sitting around watching TV and fussy cutting some of these shapes from this little gnome pad. I don't know if it will get chosen for Smash That Small Paper Pad or not. I haven't checked the tallies under my video, but I don't know. They sort of spoke to me and I thought, okay, if you guys do pick this paper pad, it's going to take me forever to fussy cut all these, so I better get started. So that was one thing that I was working on. Then I have these, what would you call them? They're like, oh, here's a package that says Lily Pearl Flower Spray. They're by Wilton. Accent headpieces, favors, and ornaments. Essentially, they're probably wedding decorations, right? And that one is different than this one. That one's pretty cool, too. It's in a loop. This is a straight one, like this. Or maybe it's been cut. No, I think it came this way. And I think Janie gave these to me in my Happy Mail. She was sort of destashing stuff and tidying up, and she just made a fun bag of things. And I've been trying to figure out what to do with them. They were sitting on the counter because I wanted to use them in my December daily. Originally, I had planned to cut these off, like snip the little balls off and use them like embellishments. But then I thought, well, I love the spacing, I love the spray. So I took one and I stapled it on to this sheet music, and then I taped over it right there with a washi tape that I didn't really intend to. I just tore off that section and it says joy. So that is precious. My plan was to put something like this here and cover it up. This would be really neat glued on the side of a page. And if these are different shapes, let's open these bad boys up too. I thought they were all the same, so I didn't think there was any point in taking these out of the package, so I'd use the first ones. Okay, these are different. So these are in a circle, which I think is even more fun maybe than the straight ones. And you could take these, let's try it. I don't know how these are attached. This might blow up if I cut this, but we could try it. Okay, so you could take this and glue it down here, and it could be a circle accent for it, or with, it doesn't have to be rosette. It could be behind a snowflake, and you could lift this up on foam mount. Just another way to layer. There is probably stuff in your house that you had for other hobbies and you can use. Embroidery floss is one of those great examples that I always give. Instead of going out and buying the perfect color twine, just look in your embroidery floss. I use lots of it. I'm playing with these a little, and you'll probably see this or versions of this pop up in my December daily video. Not the one through the 25th. It would be after that. Then one day, we have these things in our stash, don't we? Somewhere along the way, maybe I got this at Scrap PDX, big store in Portland where people donate stuff. It's blue crepe paper. How could I not buy it? So it's essentially this stuff. You can get these 2 for $1 at Dollar Tree or, I don't know, Target, other places. I don't know how much they are there. But look, it's super narrow and it has fun borders. This one is textured somewhat, not perfectly scalloped. This one has polka dots. How can I go wrong there? But no fancy border. And then this one is scallops. The scalloped one, when I made a little rosette with it, made this gorgeous flower. And then I took a piece of the polka dot, and what I do is I don't try and cut a long straight strip, but I wanted to cut it in half. So what I do is I fold it up really well like this, and then get it straight, and then I snip it that way. That's how I got this 1/2 inch strip and made this center layer here. So in this one, I use the solid for the outside and the inside. I don't like making rosettes at all, but I love using them. And what I discovered, I think last year, I had a great time. You can take a rosette, and these are made with glue dots. This one has tiny attacher staples in it. A regular size staple, they're a little more bulky. So if you're making full size rosettes, it's okay. But these are just precious. They just work really well. A snowflake, a flower, a button. It would help if everything wasn't blue, huh? Give you more contrast. They're just really nice. I also love them with puffy stickers. Oh my gosh. I mean, you know I have a little puffy sticker problem as it is. Or something like this, glued in the center of it. They're just a fun embellishment. They're another example too of not very expensive, takes a lot of time, but you can make them. I made quite a few red ones last year, small ones. These are the less cute ones because they sat around all year. I think regular stapler, and I was just stapling things. And I made them from the Dollar Tree version, and I cut it in half to make them small like that. If you want them big, use the whole roll. What I found was I kind of made too many. Like I go through spurts. So this time I just made 2 and then I called it good. And you'll probably see those in my December daily journal. If you want to make rosettes, it is not hard. It is just sort of a tedious thing. And it goes like this. You take this and you go, and you kind of gather it, right? You just think about like you're gathering and ruffling it around the bottom. And then you can lay this out and eventually, and you just gather equally all around. And eventually you're going to get a circle. And if you don't get a perfect circle, you can cheat and die cut it. You can take a circle die, run it through your Sizzix, and it'll be beautiful. That's not my idea. I got that from, I think, Odana, and it works great. So you can see it's coming together. Then use glue dots. Some people use hot glue. I use the staple gun. Just go around. The end is a little tricky, but just glue it quick before it gets away from you. I was thinking about a few things that came up this week. I pulled a roll of washi off of this wall, and it was the kind where the layers were stuck together. It was probably old. And then I realized my heater's right there. And it's going to blow on that washi tape all the time. Now, I do have, this is the far end of the house. This is the south end. We'll talk about that in a minute. That heater is in theory pointing to the left a little bit more so that it goes out into the house. But I probably didn't think that through. So when you think about where you're going to store your washi, keep that in mind. Now, in my dream world, I'm going to use this stuff up so fast and buy more, it's not even going to matter. Okay, whatever. Here's the other thing. This is my fancy paneling. This is the south end, which means it gets tons of sun, and a 1960s house. I don't have 6-inch construction like you might have in a newer house. We had a newer house before. You never heard a thing. You never noticed temperature changes. Here I noticed them. This wall, actually in the summer, you can put your hand on it and feel that it's warm. So maybe this wasn't my best plan ever. Keep temperatures in mind when you design your storage plan. I'm going to leave it there. I like it. In the summer, I might move it if I think it's a problem. And honestly, most of my stuff is stored on the south wall anyway. It just wasn't before leaning literally up against the wall. The other thing is I'm having terrible troubles with plugins because we've talked about I don't have very many, and I don't mean to complain. A 1960s house is perfectly fine. I love it here, but it has its issues. Today, Mr. Crafting and Relaxing swapped out that plug. That 6 plug was in a different place in our house. There were lots of them here when we moved in, actually. So he put that there for me. Now I can tidy up down there, and I don't have to have a plug-in bar down there. With Wilson's bed right here, this whole area needs frequent vacuuming, and that was kind of messy. I didn't like it. When you're buying plug-in bars for your craft room, we ordered a couple more because we want one for the other counter. I asked, did you order the sideways ones? And he was like, what are you talking about? When you order, what do we call these? Surge protectors, plug-in bars, whatever. This one's really old. I don't know where it came from, but it's been around in our family. There are ones where they plug in like this. So it's gonna get darker, sorry. It covers up another hole. So this one has 6, but you can't use all 6 of them. But there are ones where it goes sideways. We have one in the dining room that I ordered for my craft room, but we use it for all our laptops and stuff, where they go this way, so you can actually use all 6 of those plugins. If you need to order a plug-in bar for your craft room, which you might, unless you have amazing electrical, keep in mind that the sideways ones are great, and also keep in mind the length of the cord. This cord is very, very short because the plug-in is actually, see, these are things I don't show you in the tour, huh? The plug-in is down there in that cupboard. So I didn't want it to be really long because it messes up the storage for those. I don't want 4 feet of cord coiled up in that cupboard. Keep in mind what length you want, and also get the sideways ones if you can. You know, I like stuff made in the US. I don't know if he found one that was made in the US and sideways. When I said sideways, he was like, what are you talking about? The Ott lights need this. So does, do you have a Furbo? I have a Furbo in my craft room. That's not a normal crafting device. That's a dog thing. Sewing machines, it doesn't matter. My heat gun, it doesn't matter. But a lot of things, you're losing plugins if they go that way. And it's not that if you have one, you have to replace it. Absolutely not. Just if you're buying, try and get the right thing. I am going to say something crazy to you. I've become like a total minimalist outside of my craft room. You would not recognize, if you saw a photo on Instagram of my house, like compared to my craft room, you wouldn't recognize it at all. And what I've realized is I don't want to spend time dusting things, cleaning around things, picking them up. I just want my life to be super simple. And it's probably because I've spent so much time in my house, right? 2020 has forever changed me, so that I can spend time in my craft room. And maybe in a perfect world, my craft room will be simpler too. In my decluttering series, that was one thing I looked at, is what do I really want to do? And one of the books I listened to, I was like, oh, this lady is smart. She has these questions that you ask. And one of the questions that she was asking for her clients when she was helping them declutter, and I can't remember exactly how she phrased it. I should have written it down for you guys. She doesn't let people keep stuff that they may someday use in their craft room. She says, okay, you have to keep it organized. You only have so much stuff. So keep the things that are essentially the things that are bringing you joy now and that you will work on. So an example would be, I'm not doing cross stitch. I've gotten rid of almost all of my cross stitch stuff except for my embroidery floss, because I'll use that in paper crafting. I don't do much 12 by 12 scrapbooking, so I don't worry about keeping a lot of solid 12 by 12 pages in pairs like I used to, right? I used to have 2 pages of everything so that I could do a double page layout. Now I'm perfectly happy if I just buy one, because that's 6 cards. It's just kind of changing it and recognizing that you don't have to have all the supplies for every hobby you might do in your life. When it comes to junk journaling, I still have a problem. I don't have that figured out because I have enough junk journaling. Seriously, we could have a party and I could lay stuff out on tables and you could come over and make junk journals, 12 people, and I would have all the supplies for you and we would not run out and there would not be a shortage. But that's really hard because people give away free books, used wrapping paper, tissue paper, fabric scraps. I have the categories, they're sorted. I will use them. Maybe not all of them, but I will use some of them. Those are kind of my tidying things that I've been thinking about since my last video came out, and things that I maybe should have mentioned. The other thing that I have noticed is I was keeping my big cutter in the video, and probably every video since I first got it, I was keeping it right there. Well, sort of by accident, because I had too much junk journaling stuff on that counter, it ended up here. I'm enjoying using it because I'm super right-handed and you need room to cut. Over there, I was up against that cupboard, and so I had to move over, and then I felt like this was wasted space. And here, the space is, sometimes I'm using it here, sometimes I'm using it because I'm cutting a 12 by 12 sheet. I don't know if I'll leave it there. Mr. Crafting and Relaxing crawled back there and got a plug-in bar put in there. So now I can move my lamp and stuff around up there. I'm still figuring out. You You guys like my boombox? He's totally making fun of me about that. Look, seriously, I think that thing is like 20 years old, and I'm pretty sure the speaker crackles. I've been listening to CDs. I think that's it for today. I have bumped the button a couple times and had to restart. Fortunately, I think I noticed every time because it's when I go on and off the camera mount. So I don't know how long I've been rambling. 2021, think about, what do you want to achieve in 2021? Maybe it's in your craft room, maybe it's with your health, maybe it's in your house, maybe you're going to declutter, maybe you want to exercise. Don't bring me into that, okay? I have to, but I don't like it. It's like my least favorite thing to do. So I usually try and do it before I start playing in my craft room, because otherwise I won't do it. Now's the time to think about it. And I'm not saying New Year's resolutions, people. I'm saying goals. SMART. It's an acronym, SMART. The M is measurable. That's what I always remember. You can look it up and you can write down. If you write down 5 things that you're going to do in 2021, they're a lot more likely to happen. I'm having trouble figuring out what my crafty goals are going to be. In 2020, I had goals about using up paper, and I thought it would decrease my stash. It didn't really. So now I'm thinking maybe my goal should be more about decreasing my stash. But I don't want to say I'm not going to shop. If I go to a garage sale and they have a mountain of basic gray, I'm bringing it all home with me. I don't care how much is in my room. Let's be clear, okay? If I walk into a Tuesday morning and there's a pile of blue stuff that I don't have, there's a good chance I'm going to buy it. Even if it's embellishments, which I don't need, or paper. You think about yours, figure out if you have ideas for me. I mean, you watch my channel, you know how I did on my goals last year. I know I want to do mixed media. I'm going to do something blue, something new. I'm going to do a 30-minute tidy up every month. But as far as using paper, making stuff, do I want to have a goal about selling stuff? I don't think I do. I hate taking the pictures to list stuff on Etsy. If you have ideas for me, let me know, and I'd love to hear about your goals too. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with my December daily weekly video to get you updated on that. Bye-bye.